येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरवो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथं वितमतं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमः। ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिधि नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Can you hear me well? Hare Krishna, can you hear me well?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj.
Oh, yes, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes,
Maharaj.
Maharaj.
Okay, right. Today is a very, very auspicious day of Lord Nityananda's appearance, and this means a lot to followers of the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, especially here in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Many of you who may be new here, I've been asked to also speak to some newcomers here. May those who are on YouTube and Facebook and other media broadcast venues may not really know Nityananda. The word Nityananda in South India conjures with some other images of some other people. We don't want to talk about that, but this is Nitya Ananda, means eternally blissful. Nityananda Prabhu is Balaram himself. In Krishna Leela, he appeared as Balaram with Krishna, and in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gauranga Leela, where Krishna himself has appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appears to assist in his Leela as Nityananda Prabhu. So I'm going to chant a few shlokas from Chaitanya Charitamrita. If we have chapter 5, Adi Leela, and a few other places, I am just trying to bring these together to you, mostly from Adi Leela. Just to be auspicious and offer our prayers to Lord Nityananda. This is from Adi Leela, chapter 1, 7th shloka. Sankarshana karana toyashayi garbhodashayi chapayoktishayi sheshascha yasyam sakalaha sanityanandakya ramah sharanam mamastu. May Shri Nityananda Rama may be the object of my constant remembrance. Sankarshana, Sheshanaga, and the Vishnus who lie on the Karana ocean Garbha ocean and ocean of milk are the splenary portions and the portions of the splenary portions. This is important. I shall just explain this very briefly. The original Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, from him comes the first expansion, Balarama. It is mentioned Balarama and Krishna are exactly the same. The only difference is the complexion. The complexion of Balarama is white and that of Krishna is black, like a rain-bearing cloud. Tara Dvitiya Deha, his second body is Balarama. From that Balarama comes the expansion Maha Sankarshana. And that Sankarshana, from him comes all the Narayanas in the Vaikuntha planets. Keshava, Madhava. Like that, we have so many different Narayanas according to the permutations and combination of the Sankar Chakra Gada Padma held in the four hands. And many such expansions associated. All these Narayana expansions come from that Maha Sankarshana. And from that Maha Sankarshana also comes another Chatur Vyuha expansion. That is Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. And from that Sankarshana, from the second Chaturvyuha Sankarshana comes the three Vishnus who enter the material sphere. Vishnustu Trini Rupani Purushakyani Ato Viduhu Ekatva Mahatma Srishti Dutiyam tu Andasmastam Tritiyam Sarvabhutastam Kyani Jnatva Vimuchyate. One who can understand these three Vishnus, he will become liberated. But they are coming from the second Vyuha Sankarshana. From there comes the three Vishnus. That's how the Lord enters the material realm. So all these are from Balaram's expansions. And from Balaram's expansion also the spiritual world and paraphernalia of Krishna are all expanded. Balaram expands as Mahasankarshana. He expands as Karana Arnavashayi Vishnu, that is Mahavishnu, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, and Anantasesha. 5 forms he expands, Balaram's. Anantasesha holds all the entire universe. All the universes are on his head, like mustard seeds they are resting, it is mentioned. And on that Anantasesha is lying the Lord, Garbho Udaka ocean is lying. In this way, there is a massive expansion in the material world, and all of them come from Balarama. The Paramatma in your heart is also from Balarama. So, that person, Balarama, is directly Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda is also known as the Adi Guru, the original Guru. He is called the servitor personality of Godhead. Sevaka Bhagavan means all services of everybody. Actually, he is the head. Even Radharani, who actually allocates service to everybody, takes recommendation of Nityananda Prabhu because he is Adi Guru. So actually on this day, many people actually offer their personal offerings to Nityananda Prabhu like we do for Vyasa Puja. Vyasa Puja of your Guru, you make offerings. Like that today, Adi Guru is Nityananda Prabhu and offerings are made to him by all the disciples. So there's also a pastime of Lord Chaitanya having Nityananda Prabhu celebrate Vyasa Puja by asking him to worship Vyasadeva. It's an interesting pastime. So Lord Nityananda is Adi Guru. That's why it's mentioned here, the Vishnus who lie in the Karana ocean, Garbha ocean and the milk ocean are the splenary portions. Sankarshana, Sheshanaga and other Vishnus, all of them are his expansions. Mayatite Vyapi Vaikuntaloke Purnaishwarye Shri Chaturvyuha Madhye Rupam yasyodbhati sankarshanakhyam tam Shri Nityananda Ramam prapadye. I surrender into the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Rama, who is known as Sankarshana in the midst of the Chaturvyuha, consisting of Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. He possesses full opulences and resides in Vaikuntha Loka, far beyond the material creation. Again, Maya Bharta Janda Sangha Shraya Angah Shete Sakshat Karanam Bhoti Madhye Yasye Kamshah Sri Puman Adidevastam Shri Nityananda Ramam Prapadye. I offer my full obeisances unto the feet of Sri Nityananda Rama, whose partial representation called Karano, the Kashayi Vishnu, lying on the Karana ocean, is the original Purusha, the master of the illusory energy and the shelter of all the universes. Yasyam Sham Shahashila Garbhodashayi Yennabhi Abjam Loka Sanghatanalam Lokasrashtuhu Sutika Dhamadhatus Tam Shri Nityananda Ramam Prapadye. I offer my full obeisances unto the feet of Sri Nityananda Rama, a partial part of whom is Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. From the navel of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu sprouts the lotus that is the birthplace of Brahma, the engineer of the universe. The stem of that lotus is the resting place of the multitude of planets. Yasyam Sham Sham Shah Paratma Kilanam Poshta Vishnur Bhati Dugdhabdhisai Kshauni Bharta Yat Kalaso Api Anantas Tamshi Nityananda Ramam Prapadye. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the feet of Sri Nityananda Rama, whose secondary part is the Vishnu lying in the ocean of milk. That Kshirodakashayi Vishnu is the super soul of all living entities and the maintainer of all the universes. Sheshanaga is his further sub-part. In this way, we offer our obeisances to Lord Nityananda, whose glory is being mentioned here in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and whose glorious activities have been described in many other places like the Chaitanya Bhagavat, the Nityananda Charitamrita, and so many other such scriptures. Nityananda's greatness is lesser known in South India, maybe only devotees of ISKCON may know. But Lord Nityananda is the most merciful. It's considered that he is even more merciful than Lord Chaitanya. In other words, you can get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya only through Lord Nityananda. So, Lord Nityananda is known to be a very happy personality. As his name indicates, Nitya Ananda. He's always laughing, he's always in ecstasy of chanting the name of Krishna, he's always absorbed in Krishna. And there's a beautiful description of his looks, his wonderful countenance. He wears a blue vastra, dhoti, and he is having a beautiful garland of flowers hanging around his neck where bumblebees are buzzing around. And his beautiful face has got these beautiful eyes which are filled and always wet with tears of love for Lord Gaurachandra, for Krishna. And he's always chanting the holy name and always dancing. Whenever Lord Nityananda dances in Hari Kirtan, wherever Lord Chaitanya is, he'll come there to watch it. It's mentioned. Whenever Nityananda Prabhu is dancing, Lord Chaitanya comes to see. Right? So these are amazing leelas of the Supreme Lord. Especially Lord Chaitanya, his leela, along with Nityananda Prabhu, is very, very unique and amazing. Right? So these two wonderful personalities, Gaura Nitai, Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, appeared in Kali Yuga to give copious mercy to all conditioned souls who are stuck in this material world, who are thinking that enjoying their sense gratification is the sole purpose of human life, and they were thoroughly condemned, and they were awaiting death and punishment at Yamaraja's hands. To all of them, he shows extreme mercy and offers them recourse back to Godhead through the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is the brief description of who Lord Nityananda is. Simple thing to understand that he is Balaram himself. Lord Nityananda appeared in this world in this Ekachakra Grama. If you go to Mayapur, ISKCON's world headquarters, from there if you travel about 2 to 3 hours, you can reach Ekachakra Grama. Ekachakra is also mentioned in Mahabharata. Ekachakra comes in many other references. It's a holy place. And there Lord Nityananda appeared to Hadai Oja, Hadai Pandita, and his wife Padmavati, who were all wonderful devotees of the Lord. After they had prayed and considered to be austere, they performed austerities, and then Lord Nityananda appeared to them. Subsequently, they also got a son whom they named Bankim Rai. And Nityananda and this Bankim Rai together were doing a lot of wonderful pastimes in this area of Ekachakra. Especially in the younger days, Lord Nityananda would assemble all his friends and mates together and do drama. And they did all dramas of Krishna Leela. Krishna's Janma, Krishna's killing Kamsa, and Krishna killing Bakasura, Krishna this, and they had Lord Ramachandra's Leela, and Lord Ramachandra going to Lanka, and Hanuman flying to Lanka, and then, Lakshmana falling fainted, and, Hanuman being sent for Vritasanjeevani herb, and all those pastimes they would do very wonderfully. And the whole neighborhood will be happy to hear and see these dramas. What amazing children, because when they would see Nityananda Prabhu, was so sweet looking and very sprightly and active. And his face was so much shining with transcendental effulgence. They would embrace him and say, I'm so happy that my boys are with you. I have such great affection for you. Every parent would see Nityananda and embrace him. I'm so happy with you. It's completely different from what we see nowadays. Every parent is in such great anxiety. I'm sending my son, my daughter to this school. It's horrible. He's learning all sorts of crazy things. And here you have Nityananda Prabhu engaging everybody in Krishna Leela, engaging them in pastimes, in drama, in chanting, and dancing. And so it was a wonderful atmosphere in Ekachakra during the younger days of Nityananda Prabhu. So there's one younger days Leela which I thought that I would tell you right now in this context. That Nityananda Prabhu and all of them were once getting ready to go to the forest in the jungle. And some people came and told that don't go inside there. There is a cobra in this particular area. Don't go there. There's a big snake. And Nityananda did not bother about snakes. He's Ananta Sesha. What's the use of telling him snake? He said, really? Okay, we'll look into it. He just left. And they said, what is just telling you? We'll look into it. It's dangerous. The snake goes and gets anybody who goes that way. I don't know what will happen today. He said, don't worry. And he just went. He took all of them. Let's go, don't worry. It's something similar to, it seems, when Kaliya was holding Krishna in the Yamuna, in the coils, and the entire Vrindavan had come there, and Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj wanted to run into the waters, fall inside it. They were wondering, and Krishna was fainted in the coils. And then it seems that Balaram also came there and he said, I know what he's doing. Who is this tiny guy? I mean, this Kaliya is nothing. Krishna knows how to handle him. And because he's Ananta Sesh, he immediately decided that as he is a nobody, my brother will handle him. Nothing to worry, just keep quiet. He just consoled everybody. He said, nothing to worry, it'll all become all right. And lo and behold, it will become all right because Krishna danced on Kaliya and subdued Kaliya. In the same way here, he went into the forest with everybody. And then lo and behold, as he approached that particular area, boom, this cobra came up in front to, attack them. And it's mentioned that he gave a slap put to the cobra and said, "Shut up, what are you up to?" And the cobra instantly became attentive and said, "Excuse me, I'm very sorry, I'm so and so." So what's the story? How did you become like what you are? And the cobra told the story. So I'm going to tell you that story. It's very interesting. It's linked to something in Mahabharata also. This is Nityananda's pastime. Because he already blessed the cobra. And then the cobra became immediately aware. And the cobra, spoke the story to Nityananda and all of their friends. And this place you can still see now in Ekachakra. What did he say? He said, "I am actually Arjuna's weapon, Nagapasa weapon, that I have come to this situation." "Oh, really? What's the story?" And then he said that, you remember, he started saying that during the time of the Pandavas, when the Pandavas were in Ajnatavasa, not exactly the other Ajnatavasa, they were actually hiding because they just escaped from the house of wax, the house of lac, which, Shakuni and Duryodhana had planned and put them inside to burn it up. And they burned it up, it melted, and they decided all the Pandavas and Kunti are dead. But actually, they had escaped through another way, through Vidura's help and everything. And they were hiding somewhere here and there. Vyasadeva told them, "Best place for you to hide, go to Ekachakra and stay there quiet till the right time comes." So Kunti Devi with the Pandavas went to Ekachakra. They were all disguised as, like looking like Brahmanas and all that. So they got space in the house of one Brahmana called Vedashava. And the Vedashava's house was so small. And there was one small room partitioned here. And on the other side, these Pandavas and Kunti all stayed together. And he had a daughter and his very nice, gentle wife. And every day he would go out and ask Diksha. Bhavati Diksham Dehi. Brahmana can go and ask, and then people are obliged to give. And they would bring the Diksha home, and whatever is available, they cook and eat. But the story is that that village was attacked by demons and Rakshasas time and again. And then there was one huge demon called Bakasura. It's not the same Bakasura that Krishna killed in the form of a duck and a stork, whatever. It's a different Bakasura. He was a real demon giant. And he would come and eat up human beings and animals and anything else available. So they had a truce and a peace with him and said, "Don't come and attack like this at random and kill all of us like this. We're so afraid when you come, what will happen? We will every day of the week, or I think it's once a week or once a day, we will send you one human being and a lot of food in a cart cooked for you right up to your residence. Don't come here and scare us." We said, "Wow, that's a good plan. I don't have to do much of work. I get everything at my doorstep." It's those days Swiggy, delivery at your doorstep, food from any place that you want. So Swiggy delivery at the doorstep of Bakasura. The whole villages are agreed. So every day somebody from the village had to send a person. And lo and behold, that day came and the Vedashrava's house had to send one person. Means finished for dying, he has to send. He will eat him up. The Bakasura will actually eat up that person. So it's so horrible. So there was a discussion that day at home. The son, I think the daughter and the wife, they were all very morose when the father came. And the father also was very morose. And he was looking at all of them and crying. And he said that, "I will be going and offering myself. All of you, please." He told the son, "You take over. Now you should look after the family and you should do the needful." And they were very emotional and all of them were crying, "No, father, you should not go." "I will go," the son was saying. And the son was saying, "I should go. I am young. I am not this thing. I'm expendable. I should go." And there's a very emotional discussion going on. And Kunti heard this from the other side of the partition. She heard this and said, What do you mean go?" And it sounds like they're going to die or something. She did not know anything of the background. She stepped into the house and said, "My dear Brahmana, you have been so kind and so generous to give us a place in your house, and we have to share your happiness and your woes together. Please tell us what is troubling you." I said, "No, no, no, you're our guest. You need not know all our family matters. You don't have to know that. You should remain our guest. It's my duty to look after you. I know that I'm not able to do much for you." And he started again feeling bad. He said, "No, no, 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 please don't tell me." And then the wife started speaking because she could relate with Kunti. And she said, "I relate with you. I have sons, I have children. Please tell me what it is." And then the wife started saying that this is the story. Bakasura is a demon, and every day today is our turn, and we have to send somebody. And my husband is saying he'll go, I'll become a widow. And my son is saying he'll go, then I'll be without my son. I really don't know how to do this. I'm so, So Kunti said, "Oh, that's all. My sons will take care of them. Don't worry at all. Your sons will take care of them? Those Brahmins?" He said, "No, no, they're not like what you think. They're not like what you think. They can easily take care of him." "What do you mean?" And she told them, "Actually, we are the partners. And my son Bhima alone will be very happy to do it. Especially if you're sending food with him, most probably he will go. He'll be the first person who will volunteer to go. In fact, he may go every day hereafter." And so she was telling, "Don't worry at all. They know how to handle this." And they became so happy. "Is it so? Are you sure?" "Of course, you don't worry. I'm telling you. Why will I say that about my children? You think I'm going to send my children to some Asura? They can handle it. They've killed so many demons all along in the forest. I watched them." So they became really happy. "Is it so?" And they said, "I'll do the needful. Just give me the address where what has to be done. And whatever the cooking is, maybe that we can arrange. I don't have the capacity to do that now." So they arranged that from the local area. And there's a big pulla cart full of a mound of rice and baskets of vegetables and chutneys and sabjis and this and that. So many things. And Kunti told Bhima, "This is your chance. You've been fasting for long. If you want, you can go and finish that Bhagasura and help this family. We are staying in their house." He said, "Oh, mother, if you say so, definitely. Wow, that's a great child." And he got ready the next morning and he sat in the bullock cart and went happily. He went happily. And on the way, he said, "See, I can't just keep smelling this food and go all the way and defeat him and then eat it. I might as well eat it now and then kill the guy." So halfway, he stopped up and he ate up the whole cart and licked it dry. And then he drives the cart and goes alone right up there. And the cart is coming, and the Bakasura said, "How dare you guys come late? You fellow, and your cart is empty. What have you brought? Just you and the buffalo together. What nonsense!" They said, attacked him. Immediately, Bhima attacked him and pounded him and finished him. Bhima is super strong. Super strong is the word. So he killed him. And then he was coming back on the empty cart. And then in the meantime, Arjuna came back home and the brothers had gone out. He came back home and his mother told him, "Actually, I sent Bhima for this." "Really? Why did you not tell me? I think I need to help him. I have to go." So he went behind Bhima. And then he went along and said, "By the time I reach there, maybe something will happen. I better send my Nagapasha weapon." But he told the Nagapasha, "Go and bind up that Asura till I come. Just tie him up." And then he sent that Nagapasha weapon on the way. And that went straight there and found nobody's there. My gosh, this everything is over. Bhima is finished. By the time Arjuna met Bhima and said, "What happened?" "He's over. Everything is over. And I'm coming back. I ate up everything. Successful mission." He said, "Really? But I sent the Nagapasha weapon. I don't know what he said." And then he said, "Okay, you go back home. I'll go and settle the Nagapasha weapon. Otherwise, he'll be hanging around like a cobra, dangerous snake everywhere, troubling people." So he went all the way up there, put the Nagapasha weapon in a big hole and said, "You stay here." Then "What do you mean stay here? How will I get a food? Whoever comes around here close to you, don't go around and trouble people. Who comes close to this area, you eat him up." It may be a bird, it may be an animal, it may be a human being, it may be anybody, you have the right to eat her. Okay, Arjuna said. But don't go around and make a mess. Stay here. In this way, the cobra said, I have been staying here and eating whatever comes my way. Nityananda Prabhu said, no, no, you can't do that here. You're scaring all the villagers. Everybody's talking about you. We shouldn't do all that. We should stay back in the hole. So how will I get my food? People will come and give offerings to you hereafter. They'll come with tons of milk. They'll come with that, this, everything and give you. You will get enough. This is going to become a holy place. They need to go to kundala from his ears, golden kundala. Then he put the snake inside and covered the hole with that kundala. That's why Nityananda Prabhu has got only one kundala. You'll see that he's got ring only in 1 year. He covered that hole with the kundala and told the Nagapasha, Tata, bye bye, have a great time. So today it's called Kundala Kshetra, that Lord Nityananda's earring Kshetra. That Kundali has grown into a huge stone and covers that hole. It's a big temple. You can go and take darshan. You can climb this thing and go and take darshan there. It's a beautiful place. I think some of the devotees who came with us last time to Ekachakra, you have seen that beautiful temple. Kundali Tala, it is called. That place, Kundali Tala. So Nityananda Prabhu quietened that snake and gave special blessing to the snake, and the snake is getting all that it needs, prasadam and everything. So this is a great place of Nityananda Prabhu's pastime, which I thought is related to what I mentioned about Ekachakra's birthplace. And this way, Lord Nityananda performed many childhood pastimes in that place. And then the sannyasi came to Kodai Oja's house. His name is Shankararanya. And he stayed there, and Nityananda Prabhu also served him. And they developed a nice relationship through service. And the sannyasi was teaching him many things, telling him many things from the Purana, stories about Krishna and everything. So he became very attached. He was very young, Nitai. And finally, when the sannyasi left, the father, Hadai Oja, asked, thank you very much for staying with us and blessing our house. What service can I do for you? Can you have a small request from you? Can you? He said, yes, yes, please tell me. I'll be very happy to do it. I'm going on a yatra to many holy places and I need some assistance. Can I take your son Nitai? Please give me your son Nitai. And Hadai Oja sank. Nitai is my life. Everything for me is Nitai. If you take him away, you're taking away my life. Anyway, you asked me, what do you want? And I said that give this boy to me. Let him go. I will teach him things. He will learn many things. And could not say yes with enthusiasm. He went and spoke to his wife Padmavati and said, this has happened. Padmavati also was so sad. We will not be able to see Nitya anymore. That is too bad. And then they discussed both of them and they were feeling extreme pain in their heart. How can we separate ourselves from Nityananda? Because Nityananda is Balarama himself, is the Supreme Lord himself, come to their house and win their son. How can you separate? But it is the Lord's desire. Now the time is up. I've given you my association and time as per your desire. It's time for me to go with this sannyasi Shankararanya because he is somebody very important. There is a history to that also. So Hadai Oja very reluctantly agreed because he thought of Maharaj. Dasharatha also parted with Ramachandra when Vishwamitra Muni came. We have to do that for the good of our son. And then Nitai very happily left with the sannyasi. Hadai Oja, seeing Nityananda Prabhu going away, could not bear the separation. He fell down and left his body. He couldn't take it anymore. He went back to God. So Nitai went with Shankararanya and he went to many, many places and assisted him. And finally, in Pandharpur, Shankararanya Swami achieved Samadhi. And there is a Samadhi in ISKCON's plot of land. We have Shankararanya Swami Samadhi also. Actually, he was Vishwarupa, the elder brother of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who left the home in Navadvip because Lord Chaitanya is born now, and Vishwarupa's wedding was going to take place. That is, Lord Chaitanya's parents, Sachi Mata and Jagannath Mishra, they're looking for a girl for Vishwarupa. And Vishwarupa heard about it. He was the least bit interested in anything material. He was absorbed in reading the Bhagavad every day in the company of many devotees headed by Advaita Acharya. And he was totally Krishna conscious. So he couldn't think of him getting married, having children, running a house, getting the, so he just left the house. He took sannyasa and left. And that he's the one who came to Nityananda Prabhu's house. And he took Nityananda Prabhu and left. And when he achieved Samadhi in Pandharpur, Vishwarupa, that sannyasi Shankararanya, his name became Shankararanya Swami after he took sannyas. Before it was Vishwarupa, he was a brother of Lord Chaitanya. He subsumed himself into Lord Nityananda. And so Lord Nityananda, who is also now Vishwarupa, sort of, came all the way traveling to various places. Since he came to South India also, he visited many temples here. He came to the Kaveri, to Ganges, to name it, all sorts of places. Is listed Madurai and Ranganatha Swami temple. To all these places, Lord Nityananda appeared and came. Much before Lord Chaitanya came, right? So in this way, he came and finally he was searching everywhere. Where is Krishna, who has appeared now in Kali Yuga? I heard. So he came in search of Lord Chaitanya. And in this way, somehow he was led here and there and came to Navadvip. So Lord Chaitanya had a dream. Nimai Pandit he was called. He had a dream that some wonderful personality is going to come here. And he had a dream about that personality. That personality came in a beautiful chariot with a wonderful flag in it. And he had one kundala in his ears. And he was looking so beautiful, his hair curly falling over him. He was always in ecstasy and chanting the name of Krishna. And he came in the dream in front of Lord Chaitanya's house. And then Lord Chaitanya opened the door and said, "Is this the house of Krishna who has appeared in Kali Yuga now? His name is some, like that." He inquired. And then he looked at him and he was so happy. To Lord Chaitanya told him, "We have got this dream of a wonderful person who's going to come here. He's an amazing person." Obviously, this is the Lord's Leela. He knew that he's going to meet with his brother Balarama, who's come as Nityananda Prabhu. And so it's mentioned that Lord Chaitanya engineered everybody. Yes, go and find out. He has already come into Navadvip. Go and find out. Srivas Pandit, Haridas Thakur, and all of them went to inquire from different places. Is there a wonderful personality who's appeared in Navadvip from somewhere? Is he traveled from somewhere and come? They went everywhere and found they couldn't find it. They couldn't find it. So they came back to Lord Chaitanya and gave reports. And Lord Chaitanya simply smiled. He said, "You think you can go and inquire and find out who is this person? He's not an ordinary person. He's not somebody." So Lord Chaitanya said, "Can you take a lamp and go and search for the sun? You think you can use a lamp and search for the sun? That's not the way to do it. Come on with me, I'll tell you where he is." And he was dancing and chanting, so happy, thinking of meeting Nityananda. Everybody saw that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very, very happy. He started screaming, "Oh, Murari, where are you?" The names of different people he was calling and said, "Come with me, I'll show you," like that. And everybody saw that he was ecstatically happy. He was twirling around, dancing and going on, leading everybody to Nityananda's place. That's a place called Nandanacharya's house. The Lord Nityananda had come to Nandanacharya's house and taken residence there. And it was a little bit away from ISKCON's headquarters in Mayapur, just walking distance. And in that place, Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu met with each other. There's a very ecstatic description of that. How each of them, looked at each other and they're recognizing. Krishna is recognizing Balaram, Balaram is recognizing Krishna in Kali Yuga, and they have come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and he saw Nityananda Prabhu sitting there and meditating, And then he went and stood in front of him, and Nityananda opened his eyes and saw him, and immediately fell down and held his feet. My Lord, he said, you are my Lord, because Lord Balaram is always serving Krishna. Lord Balaram is Krishna's chappals, his shoe wear, his umbrella, his bedstead, all his personal paraphernalia is Lord Balaram. His expansion, Anantasesha, everything. So it's constantly, like I said, he's Sevaka Bhagavan, servitor personality of Godhead, serving and showing Krishna. So, but Lord Chaitanya immediately said, no, no, don't hold my feet. And he was trying to hold Nityananda Prabhu's feet. And there was a whole tussle between both of them trying to hold each other's feet. And both of them were in ecstasy. They were crying and they were holding each other. They were dancing. They were chanting the holy name. And there was a tumultuous, expression of love and dancing and expression of happiness. And everybody was ecstatic at the meeting of Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is also a nice pastime described very wonderfully. And then, Lord Chaitanya, as went on, Nityananda Prabhu actually is a Avaduta. Avaduta means he has nobody with him. He's like a free man, madman, who has no connections, nothing. So Avaduta Sannyasi means one who has nothing to do with anything in the material world. It's totally cut off. So it's mentioned that Nityananda Prabhu had sannyasi danda. Sannyasi carries a danda with him. The danda represents all the demigods. The danda represents his surrender to Krishna, mind, body, words, intelligence, himself as Atma, all surrender to Krishna, etc. So Nityananda Prabhu actually was in ecstasy and broke his own danda. Because Lord Chaitanya asked him to stay in Shiva's Pandit's house and told Shiva's Pandit to look after him. And after that, he took residence in Shiva's Pandit's house. In Shiva's Pandit's house, he was laughing, dancing. One fine day, he broke his danda and threw it there. And then in the house, they discovered that he's broken his danda. And they went and reported to Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya came immediately and said, what have you done? What is this? And Lord Nityananda was just laughing. So he took the danda and took Lord Nityananda to the Ganges, and they took a bath, and in the Ganges he threw the danda pieces. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu threw the danda pieces in the Ganges. It's very amazing because later the same Leela will happen to Lord Chaitanya. When Lord Chaitanya goes to Puri, at that time Lord Nityananda and all of the devotees will accompany. At that time, Jagadananda Pandit will be given the danda because Lord Chaitanya said, go take my bath and everything and come, keep this safely. So he'll hand it over to Nityananda Prabhu and say, keep it safe, I'm just coming, I have to do some service. So Nityananda Prabhu looked at the danda and broke it into 3 pieces. He broke Lord Chaitanya's danda. He just breaks it if he sees the sannyas danda. So he broke Lord Chaitanya's danda. And then Bhukarana Prabhu, what will I do now? So he took the danda broken pieces and went and showed it to Swarup Damodar Goswami, who was a secretary and servant, and he said, wow. And then Lord Chaitanya came to know about him, he became very displeased. He told Lord Nityananda, yes, and before that, this Jagadananda went and asked, who broke this danda? We saw this danda broken here. Nityananda said, who broke this danda of Lord Chaitanya? He said, you see, I was thinking, I am carrying that person who is carrying this danda. Why is required for him to carry the danda? I am carrying in my heart. Danda is not required. I can't carry the danda. So I broke it. This is the answer he gave. In my heart, I carry that person who is carrying this danda. And the danda is not required for it. He is the Supreme Personality of God. What does he need danda for? Sannyasana. What does it mean? So I broke it. And this way he was questioned. He gave this funny answer. They did not know what to do. They told Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya said, he became very moody. But externally he was being moody. But he knew very well what Lord Nityananda was trying to say. What sannyas and all that for you? You are the Supreme Lord. Why are you putting on this act? Sannyas and sannyas danda. You don't require any danda. You are ecstatically in the mood of love. So what do you need this danda for? So Lord Chaitanya knew that he is in ecstasy of Krishna consciousness, and so he has done this. But externally he said that this danda, all the demigods just in my danda, I am a sannyasi, you have done this to me. I am not going to join any one of you. I'm going alone now to Puri. I don't want any one of you. You're disturbing me. He said, and he went away alone to Puri. That was the reason for him to leave and go. Even today, you can go to the place before you approach Puri. It's called Danda Banga, where Lord Chaitanya's danda was broken. It's a big temple we have erected there, and there's a beautiful space there on the bank of the river, Danda Banga. So it's nice that Lord Nityananda not only broke his danda, he also broke Lord Chaitanya's danda. He was a danda breaker. So this pastime also happened. And interesting thing is that Lord Nityananda was, it's all very funny pastimes in the sense that they're in ecstasy and they're speaking certain things that seem obviously very wrong, but there are meanings and meanings inside meanings. When Nityananda Prabhu and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is invited, and both of them are eating the house, Nityananda Prabhu and Lord Chaitanya. And Nityananda Prabhu, Sarvabhauma has made a fantastic feast. It's so nice actually. Everybody's enjoying it. And Nityananda Prabhu will actually start teasing him, teasing Sarvabhauma. This rice, useless. You're giving me so, that's all you're offering to me? I can eat all, they're giving me very less. And Sarvabhauma said, you are an Avadhuta, why don't you be satisfied with whatever you get and be happy? And he said, this is useless food that you're giving me. And he was eating this and threw it on the floor like this, Nityananda. They were all joking with each other. And that rice, tumbled up and went and touched the feet of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And as soon as it touched, he got into ecstasy and started dancing and chanting. Just that touch of the rice falling down from Nityananda Prabhu's hands made Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya so ecstatic. Both of them were teasing each other and bantering and saying all these things. You are an Avadut, why don't you just be satisfied with what I give you? I am a poor grahastha, I call you home. This is not the way to behave. Behave properly. And this is useless food. Even the little you are giving is so useless. And Lord Chaitanya was laughing at both of them talking to each other. So this funny type of conversations they have. And they are in ecstasy of Krishna consciousness. So that's why it's so wonderful to read Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then Nityananda Prabhu was staying in Shiva's Pandit's house. So one day Lord Chaitanya will come and say, I forgot to tell you one thing when I told you to house Nityananda and look after him. This Nityananda is an Avadut, is a low-class beggar. Why don't we just throw him out of the house? He's all of a sudden coming and telling Shiva's Pandit, why don't we just throw him out of the house? And while Nityananda may most probably be there hearing him, Lord Chaitanya is coming and saying, why don't you throw him out of the house? When Shiva's Pandit says, my dear Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I will never do that because you and Nityananda are the same. I know that. Even if Nityananda holds a wine bottle in his hand, even if Nityananda marries a Muslim girl and gets into my house, I will never do what you're saying. I'll never do it. Why? Because of my love for him. Because I know who he is and who you are. When Shiva's Pandit said this very firmly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very happy. And it's mentioned he climbed onto the chest of Shiva's Pandit. And then he stood there and loudly said, I am so happy to hear that you have such faith in Nityananda. Anybody who has faith in Nityananda Prabhu is already delivered. He will get supreme mercy from me. Right? In this way, I declare that anybody who commits even the slightest offense out of envy for Nityananda is doomed. Even if he is a great devotee, he's finished. Nityananda is so dear to me. Nityananda is everything for me. In this way, he stood up and declared from the chest of Shiva's Pandit the glories of Nityananda. So for those who come regularly for Panihati Mahotsava, We take Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda to the Mahotsava outside, normally to a waterfall, to a water area. We recollect the pastime of this Panihati Mahotsava where Raghunath Das Goswami gets the mercy of Nityananda. It was so funny. And he called upon Raghunath and said, "Hey, you thief, come here, you're trying to avoid me." And they brought him in front and he paid obeisances. He's such a big Zamindar's son. He put his lotus feet on his head and he said, "I want to punish you, you thief." And everybody was afraid, what's happening? In his angry mood, he said, "I want you to offer a feast to me and all of my friends who are here. You should make it like this, like this, like this." And while he was hearing this, Raghunath Goswami became so blissful and happy. He said, what a amazing punishment I'm getting. He's giving me a wonderful opportunity to feed him and everybody else. So that's when he did the famous Chida Dehi Mahotsava. So this way, Nityananda Prabhu is very strange. He kicked the chest of Shivananda Sena. Now, Shivananda Sena was taking these troops of people every year from Bengal, Navadvip, all the way to Jagannath Puri for the Rath Yatra. And lots of people would join. Very nice, simple folk. Some of them don't have money also. And Shivananda Sena will finance them. Whoever wants to come, whoever wants to see Gauranga Mahaprabhu and see Lord Jagannath in the chariot and be there and have association and then come back is welcome. So lots of them would join. Some of them would give money, some of them would not have money. Shivananda Sena would make arrangement for everybody. He wanted to facilitate everybody's visit to see Lord Chaitanya. Such a nice, wonderful devotee. And he would make the whole organization of the yatra, the accommodation for everybody, the travel, the prasadam, and he make sure everybody's together. He had big organization. And they would all travel, mostly walking, and go on a boat across the stream, walk into jungles and everything and move. It's like days and weeks of walking with children, women, men, old men, everybody together. Yatra, real yatra, I mean. Not like what we do. Catch a flight here and land down in Delhi, and then take a car and air-conditioned car and zoom into Vrindavan and land up in the vehicle in Vrindavan and then immediately order for a smoothie and then drink it and then eat a few sweets and then go on a parikrama on a vehicle and da-da-da-da, and many people do that and smoothly come away. This is walking all along from the beginning to the end, not just parikrama only in the holy dham. Parikrama from the beginning to the start, from the doorstep of your house and back to the doorstep of your house. So Nityananda Prabhu went in this group. And he got a little disturbed once that he was been made to wait. And it's lunchtime. I'm hungry. Where is that Shivananda Sena rascal? He was actually in ecstasy. He was very happy about Shivananda Sena's service. So with his friends and mates, he was there, and suddenly he said, "Where is this rascal? He delays so much. I have no place to stay. I'm not able to take my bath. I don't have food to eat. I'm so hungry. What organization is doing?" And then he said, "I curse all his children to die." Nityananda Prabhu said this openly. "I curse his children to die." And hearing this, Shivananda's wife, "My husband doing so much seva and he's getting this from for a small mistake. My gosh, how can we do devotional service?" Sometimes in our society, some small thing happens, something, "I did seva and he told this, I told." I said, "So what? Relax. It's not something very serious. Because of this happened, that happened, I'm not sure. It's okay, this happened." Look at Shivananda Sena, what he'll be feeling. And he's cursing from Nityananda Prabhu. The Supreme Lord is cursing him. All your sons will die. And that was such a thunderbolt on the family members. And Shivananda Sena is not here, he's busy somewhere running around. So she became very depressed. And then Shivananda Sena's nephews and all heard this. "My uncle is such a wonderful devotee. He's so close to Lord Chaitanya. And why is Nityananda Prabhu cursing him like this? I'm leaving from here." They left the party and went away ahead. "I want to go and meet Lord Chaitanya and complain about this." They left. Both of them left. And they arrived in Lord Chaitanya's place in Puri much ahead of the yatra. And then they came and complained to Lord Chaitanya, my uncle Shivananda Sena is such a close associate of you, is serving you, and Nityananda Prabhu has cursed his sons to die. Is this proper? Is this proper etiquette? And Lord Chaitanya said, don't worry, nothing will happen. Nothing. He consoled them. He told Swarup Dhamma, give them both nice prasadam. They're young. They walked all the way. They had anxiety. Please don't worry at all. Nothing is going to happen. Don't worry. I assure you. And he told, console them. In the meantime, here, Shivananda Sena came back. And his wife quickly went, Nityananda Prabhu has cursed our sons to die. You silly woman. Why are you worried? If Nityananda Prabhu is cursed, let them die. Because they go back to Godhead. What's your problem? Do you know who is Nityananda Prabhu? You don't know. You say, what? You're talking like this? And he went and faced Nityananda. As soon as Nityananda saw him, he got up and raised his leg and gave him a kick in the chest. And he boom, fell down. Everybody's watching. What a treatment. With anger, he kicked him. As soon as he was kicked, he got up and said, today my life has become successful. I'm most fortunate because your feet has touched my chest. What more can I want? He glorified Nityananda immediately, Shivananda Sena. And he said, I'm very sorry, I got tied up with this. And he made arrangement in a nice Goshala for Nityananda Prabhu to stay and everything. And he made arrangement for his food and everything. Nityananda Prabhu was very pleased with Shivananda Sena. And the way Shivananda Sena took his kicking on the chest, it became even more pleased with Shivananda Sena. So many devotees sometimes wonder, what a pastime. This is kicking the devotee. I mean, but he's like that. He's a avadut, a little crazy type of thing. But he wants to give his mercy. He's an ecstasy. Seeing Shivananda Sena engaged in devotional service to Lord Chaitanya. He's so happy with them that he's showing the other side of it. Sometimes when the disciple is doing such wonderful service, the Guru tests him in some ways, being very pleased with him, giving him more mercy, and sometimes even chastises the disciple in front of others. And the disciple takes it very nicely, and everybody observes this person who's got the mercy of Guru. He's able to take it. Definitely, he's being tested. Prabhupada, I remember that who said the pastimes Malati Mataji, cooking. He had asked them to cook. She's an American disciple and she's learned how to cook, and Prabhupada has taught how to make dal, chapati, pakora, everything. And she's cooking and she begins something. He says, no, this is not cooked properly. This is like that. And Prabhupada's godbrothers are also sitting. And she comes and she feels very horrible. She's being criticized. Then she goes away feeling very bad. I thought it would be nice and do, but my guru is saying this is not proper, this is not this. Then as soon as she goes, he tells his godbrothers, see her service mood. If I ask her to slit her throat, she'll do it for me. Look at this disciple of mine. See how they are trained. Who said that Lord Chaitanya's prediction would not come true? They are all very, observant of what was Prabhupada saying. And there are other disciples of Prabhupada who were standing there, and they quickly went to Malati and said, you know what Prabhupada said after he went? That's what he said. It's praising you. Obviously, he didn't want to say this in front of you because you might be becoming a little proud. So he purposely told you this. And as soon as he went, he told his godbrothers, what sort of a disciple she is. If I ask her to cut her throat for me, she'll do it. He said that. So sometimes tests come by the arrangement of the Lord. But Shivananda Sena responded to it so wonderfully. He immediately jumped and danced. He said, your feet and dust on your feet that touch my chest, I'm doing that. I'm so fortunate. Later, Lord Nityananda will show that he is very pleased with Shivananda Sena personally. In this way, Nityananda Prabhu's activities were very amazing. Very amazing. In Shiva's Pandit's house, Malini Mataji, that is Shiva's Pandit's wife, was looking after Nityananda Prabhu like as though he was my son. and she would attend to Nityananda Prabhu. So there are various pastimes with Marinima also, and Sachi Mata also, wonderful pastimes. One pastime that there are so many, but I will just make this the last one. This time is getting late. Um, Sachi Mata, I think I mentioned this in Tamil lecture today also. Sachi Mata's house, she had that feeling that this is my son, Nityananda Prabhu. Obviously, because Vishwarupa was merged into, and that feeling she had also. And she looked at both of them as my sons. Just like Yashodamai was looking at Krishna and Balaram as sons, and catering to both of them. Although Rohini was the mother of Balaram, Yashodamai would look at both of them as my children. So Sachimata got a dream in her house. One day she was in the ecstasy of both of them doing wonderful things at home. They would come and they would play, and all this she would watch and have a lot of wonderful emotions of love as a parent in Vatsalya Rasa. So one day she got a dream, and she was talking about the dream to Lord Chaitanya, who was Nimai, her son. I dreamt both of you in my dream today. What is it? He did. So he said, both of you got into my DT room, my puja room. And there, there's Krishna and Balaram's deities that she's worshipping. And you both were playing inside and all that. And after some time, you came out with Nityananda had Krishna deity in his hand, and Chaitanya had Balaram deity in his hand. And you were coming out, and Nityananda was telling Krishna, okay, no more fooling around. You can't steal butter around here and go to house and do all that. All that is over. This is a Brahmin's house now. All that is stopped. If you do all that anymore, we'll cut you down, put you down, tie you up. Okay? He was telling the deity. Nityananda Prabhu was telling the deity, no more stealing butter and all the stuff like you did in the past. You can't play around with the gopas and the gopis and all that in the night. No Raslila. That's all forbidden for you now. This is a Brahmana's house that you're coming to. And then from the hand of Lord Chaitanya, Balaram is telling, the deity Balaram is talking and saying, by the way, who are you to say this? Who are you two guys to decide what we should do or not do? This house doesn't belong to you. Get out of this house. Leave us here and get out. And then say, but who are you, by the way? And both deities and Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu are holding these deities, and the deities are talking to them, and both are arguing. Who are you? It's the same Balaram and Krishna. So Satyamata says, I heard this and I became so happy hearing this. And they were fighting, they were talking about prasadam, and they were eating up the prasadam halfway and so many things and all that. And then Nimai Pandit will smile hearing this. And then he will say, yes, that's what I was wondering. Whenever you were asking me to offer, I would take the offering. When I would take the offering out, I would always see it as half empty. I was thinking that, my wife, your daughter-in-law, is maybe stealing some offering and all that. But now I understand it must be these people who are doing this. And then she became even more happy hearing this, Sachimata. And most happy was Lakshmi Priya, the wife of Lord Chaitanya, was hearing this from the other room behind the curtain. What her husband is hearing from Sachimata, and his remark that, I thought your daughter-in-law is the one who was eating it up. So she heard this and she thought, oh, now it's me who am consuming the prasadam. And she was also smiling in happiness. In this way, Nityananda Prabhu and Lord Chaitanya were giving amazing amount of happiness to all of the residents of Navadvip, Mayapur, especially Sachimata and all the dear devotees like Shivas, Pandit, etc. So there's a lot of beautiful pastimes of this, of Nityananda Prabhu. Today the time is up, it's only 8:45, I've crossed more than 15 minutes of the required time. So we'll all pray for Lord Nityananda's mercy on us today, so that we may be able to chant offenselessly, we may be able to attract the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, who is very kind and extremely merciful, and especially to the fallen people. Aha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Saki Kripa Balo Kana Karo Ami Baro Dukhi. So it is mentioned that the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda are very cool shelter for conditioned souls in Kali Yuga, who are burning in the fire of material life. So it is mentioned that Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda's lotus feet are the shelter of all conditioned souls. If we take the shelter of Lord Nityananda's lotus feet, there is nothing that one cannot achieve. That is mentioned very nicely in songs written glorifying Lord Nityananda's Nitai Pada Kamala Koti Chandra Sushitala. It's the coolness of Lord Nityananda's lotus feet is like the coolness of crores and crores of moons, giving you a cool moonshine, right? So we will pray to Lord Nityananda and have, fortunately, his blessings today on his appearance day, so that we may all be able to chant offenselessly, develop our love for Krishna, and achieve the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and hence Krishna Prema. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Thank you. Good night. Om Tat Sat. Have a great night. Remembering Lord Nityananda's lotus feet.